Greetings everyone, and I hope you're all shipshape and Bristol fashion out there in collecting land. And welcome back to the channel for another 1/10 scale figure unboxing and review. And today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Neca's Evil Dead 2 30th anniversary box set, featuring not one but two figures from the classic Sam Raimi 1987 horror movie. The review will take the usual well-trodden format with a quick look at the box, then it'll be down onto the table to look at all the accessories that come with the figures, then it will be out with Campbell and Ed Getley himself for a close-up look, then we'll be wrapping the whole thing up with the usual showcase at the end. But before we get into it, a huge shout out and thank you to everyone who has subscribed to and supported the channel. You're all stars. And to those of you watching who haven't subscribed, and I know there's a lot of you out there, come on, drop the boomstick of indecision and mash that subscribe button and bell notification icon. It's cost and pain free, and not only will you be making an old collector very, very happy in his twilight years, you'll also be sure of not missing anything that's coming up on the channel, any of the new content that's coming up. And trust me, there's a lot of it. Some of it will be listing at the end of this review, so everybody wins. But that's enough of my ramblings. Let's take a look at the box, and as always, it's up to the usual high standards of Neca's presentation with that book opening design. It's also worth mentioning at this point as well, this set was originally released, I believe, well, back in 2017, 2018. I've had it since its release, but it's remained sealed and in the box since then, so it's a voyage of deadite discovery for all of us. So let's stop it from spinning and have a close-up look at it. Obviously it's slightly larger than the normal Neca box because you've got two figures in here. What you've got on the front of the box is this wonderful artwork, which I believe was actually, as memory serves me correctly, it was used for the poster artwork for the film, and I believe the VHS cover, or one of the versions of the VHS cover anyway, had this on it. I do remember owning that particular VHS. Yes, that's how old I am. But moving swiftly on, what you've got on the front here, this wonderfully sort of, it's really very, very, I don't know, what's the expression I'm looking for here, this very retro feel to it. Yeah, it says Evil Dead 2 across the top. You've got the Necronomicon in the middle there. You've got the cellar there with its contents attempting to escape. It says kiss your nerves goodbye. You've got Ash on one side, his girlfriend on the other. It says there's only one movie scarier than the Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2. Let's take a look at the sides. On the right hand side just says Evil Dead 2 30th anniversary, Dead by Dawn, Neca at the bottom there, Neca Real Toys. Same thing on the right hand side. On the bottom you have the credits of everybody involved in the production of the figures, barcodes and the usual bits and pieces there. On the top says Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn again. Warning on there, the choking hazard and the age restrictions. Don't piss these figures off or you may very well be dead by dawn. Let's take a look around the back. Once again, really, really nicely done. You've got these HD photos which have been sort of inserted into the Necronomicon, the pages of the Necronomicon, with the drawings and the illustrations there, and pictures of the figures, both figures and some of the accessories as well, and a brief recap of the movie at the top there. So if you're wanting to read that, feel free to hit pause. So that's it, that's your box. As I mentioned before, it's the usual Velcro fastening book style opening. You open up the front cover and you are greeted with your two figures. On the inside cover, another fantastic HD shot here with a diorama background of both figures. And underneath the clear plastic cover you have Ed's swap out head, Ash with a couple of swap out heads and all the accessories as well. So yeah, there you have it. Up to the usual high standards of presentation from Neca, what we've come to expect. So without further ado, let's crack these seals that have been intact for so many years and dive down onto the table and have a look at all the accessories that come with the figures. Okay, so seals broken and accessories out. So let's take a look at all the bits and pieces that come with your Neca Evil Dead 2 30th anniversary edition. We will start with the Necronomicon Ex Mortis itself, the Book of the Dead, and as always, Neca have produced a really, really good 1/10 scale replica here of the book itself. The paint applications are great. The sculpt is on point. This is not new territory for Neca. They must have done this 100 times, but it's on point. The cover is screen accurate. That droopy mouth and those half-closed eyes. The paint applications are on point to replicate that old human flesh. This one's hinged, which is nice to see, and when you open it up, it's all sculpted plastic. There's no paper in the book, but they've actually replicated a couple of the pages as well, and probably two of the most important pages, two of the most iconic pages in the Necronomicon. The one on the right there with the deadite, and the one on the left with the eyeball as well. And the paint applications are great as well to replicate more pages in there, so it looks like the book's complete. And as I say, it's on a hinge, so you can have it closed or open in the display. And yeah, just a really, really nice 1/10 scale representation of the Book of the Dead. So we'll pop that to one side. We will take a look at the other weapons that come with the figures. You get the Kandarian dagger, once again, all one piece of sculpted plastic, slightly softer plastic, this one, because a brittle plastic with something this small would mean that it'd be prone to breaking. But yeah, screen accuracy is on point with that skull on the hilt there, that sort of spinal column blade going on. Just really, really nicely done. Nice paint applications, and the accuracy for something this small is what we've come to expect from Neca. So yeah, that's the Kandarian dagger. We'll pop that to one side. Where would we be without the boomstick? So yeah, Ash's boomstick, all one piece of sculpted plastic. Usual story here of Neca high quality. You've got the wood grain effect stock there, which is nice and convincing. The barrel itself has got some silver dry brushing on there to give it that sort of weathered and aged look. No cocking action, but all round, just a very, very good representation of the shotgun that Ash uses in the film. So yeah, that's the boomstick. We'll put that to one side. Next, we'll take a look at probably what's my favourite accessory in this edition, and that's the laughing deer head from the cabin wall, a mounted deer head. Really, really well done. Those who've seen the film will recognise this. Will recognise the sequence where it mocks Ash and laughs at him hysterically. Yeah, the screen accuracy is on point. The sculpt's really nice to sort of replicate old fur. The paint applications on the head are really good. You've got this sort of pink tones to give it that slightly aged and nasty look. The eyes are whited out. The mouth is really, really well done. You've got wet look paint applications in there to give it that sort of slightly damp look. The teeth are well picked out. And just overall, very, very screen accurate. The antlers themselves are a slightly softer plastic, which is good to see. So they're not going to be prone to snapping. These, I think, have folded over just a little bit too much in storage. You've got to remember this has been in storage for a number of years. Yeah, overall, I really, really like this piece. So if you're wanting to set up a diorama for your Evil Dead figures, and you've got other Evil Dead figures with other accessories that you're wanting to use, this would go along fantastically with that. It's also articulated to a certain extent anyway. I mean, I'll just try and get it to move. Remember, this has been in the box for some time, so it's a little bit on the stiff side. It sort of twists from right to left. There's no forward or backward motion. It's just a bit of right and left there, so you can have it looking off to one side if you're wanting to do so. But yeah, really nice touch there, and just really, really well sculpted and painted from Neca. So yeah, that is your mounted deer head. We'll put that to one side. Finally, the swap out head sculpts. Now, both figures have already got head sculpts on them. We'll take a look at those when we bring the figures out. These are the swap out heads for both figures. We'll take a look at the swap out head for Ed first. And very nicely done this is too. I'm going to try and get this as close as to camera as possible so we can pick out all the details. Paint application's really good. The screen accuracy is on point. That mouth in particular is very, very accurate and very nasty, with multiple teeth in there, all of them sort of nasty browns and blacks and so on. There is some articulation to this jaw, not a vast amount, but it's on a hinge, so if you're wanting to have that mouth open, you can do. The eyes are nicely done with that sort of purple hue around the edges, and they're whited out, and it's also got its party piece as well, which is where the top comes off, as if it's been removed with axe or chainsaw. Inside you've got rather unpleasant green mess with what looks like a tiny brain inside as well. But yeah, very, very well done. If you're wanting to use this in the display to replicate him having half his head sliced off, you can do so. The hair's really well done, and the colours are pretty screen accurate as far as I can remember for Ed's hair colour. It was pretty much on point there, and the style is right. But yeah, nice to see that that effect there of having half his head missing. So yep, you can pose away to your heart's content with a partially severed head. So yeah, that's Ed's swap out head. Let's take a look at the two swap out heads for Ash. Now we'll start with this one. This is the more neutral of the three. There are three. There's sort of the neutral one, the angry one, and the surprised one, which is already on the figure. The surprised one is probably the one I prefer the most out of the three, and we'll take a look at that when we bring the figure out. But yeah, we'll start with the neutral one. Nicely sculpted it is too, that prominent chin, which is unmistakably Bruce Campbell. You've got a 5 o'clock shadow on there. You've got some nice high gloss blood paint applications around the hairline. The hair itself, super high gloss, which is in keeping with the film itself and that dark black. But the eyes are nicely done, eyebrows are well painted, and overall, yeah, a very, very good head sculpt. Yeah, so that's head sculpt number one. Head sculpt number two is the angry one. Pretty much the same level of sculpt and paint applications here, if the camera will focus on this. Yeah, just you've got that sort of teeth exposed look here. The teeth are nicely painted, the eyebrows are raised, and the eyes are squinting more to create that aggressive look. But yeah, once again, you've got that blood paint application in the hairline. The hair's nicely done, 5 o'clock shadow again, and as always, that super prominent chin that we've come to associate with Mr. Campbell. So there you have it. That's head sculpt number three. So that's all the accessories. So without further ado, let's bring out Ash and Ed themselves, get them onto the turntable, and have a close-up look at them. Okay, so here they are. It's Ash Campbell and Ed Getley straight out of the box and straight onto the turntable. And first impressions, well, first impressions are very, very good, as always with Neca. It's just, it's Neca doing what they do. But as far as first impressions go, I have to say what really caught my eye in this pack was the Ed Getley. I think this is the first time that Neca have actually ever done Ed in 1/10 scale, and it really, really caught my eye. I do like it. I think it's really, really good, particularly the hands and the head sculpt. I think they are absolutely on point, and I'm loving this piece in particular. That's not to say that I don't love the Ash. I think perhaps I've just become a little bit Ash weary, shall we say, because Neca have done him so many times. Seeing yet another Ash Campbell figure is sort of, I don't know, it's like seeing your own reflection. I think you just take it for granted after a while. But yeah, Ed really stood out here. But we'll do what we always do. We will stop them from spinning and take a close-up look, and we will start with Ash. So let's take him off the turntable. We'll put Ed to one side without knocking him over, and just get this turntable out the way so we can have a close-up look at Ash here. Now, yeah, as I mentioned before, there've been so many iterations of Ash by Neca. It's difficult to know where to start with this, but as always, yeah, it's the same high standards. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. We'll start with these boots now. Yeah, the boots are pegged into the legs. They are suitably weathered. The colour is right. There's grip on the bottom there. Obviously, you've got two holes here for using the smaller of the stands. I tend not to use the stands on my Neca figures when I display them, but I prefer them freestanding. But yeah, the holes are there if you need them. The pants themselves are really, really well done. They've got that sort of material grain in them that's been sculpted in, which is really, really good with I think with the Neca figures. The shading's right, the paint applications are on point. Let's check out the articulation. Not an awful lot of movement in those feet. There's some sort of lateral movement there, not a lot of forward and back movement, but there is some lateral, as I said. It's good to see that you've got the strips torn out of the pants at the bottom there, which is screen accurate. They're weathered and dirtied and generally mucked up, which is good to see. The knee articulation Not a huge amount of play in those knees, but enough. If you're wanting to go for a bit more dynamic posing, you've probably got about a 20-degree give there in either knee. These knees are quite stiff, but you've got to remember that this is the first time this has been out of the box, and it's been sat there for a number of years. The legs at the waist, or rather at the thigh area, are articulated. Not a huge amount of give there either, but it's not so you're going to be going for any massively dynamic poses with these two. They're going to be relatively vanilla poses. It's the upper body really where the majority of the action will take place. But yeah, the waist has got a certain amount of give in it. Yeah, there's some good movement there in the waist, so you can really twist that waist round. The belt is nicely sculpted, as are the creases at the top of those pants. Let's move up to the upper body, the shirt. Now that's all hard plastic, bar this small piece that's hanging down. It is suitably grubbied up. The screen accuracy's there. It's been really well weathered. There are whites, there are browns, there are blacks. There's blood spatter on there. Yeah, just really, really well done. The colour is on point. That rip is screen accurate. The harness is all hard plastic to hold the boomstick holster. Let's take a look at the actual flesh tones that you can see on this figure. Really nicely done. Yeah, as always from Neca, suitably dirtied. The shoulder areas, the forearms and the hands are all weathered and dirtied up. You've got the normal story of articulation, I believe, at the elbows here. This one doesn't want to move, and I'm assuming that is simply because of it being sat in a box for so long. But yeah, this yeah, this one is a little, how can I put it, it's it's not wanting to cooperate. There is, yeah, the give is most certainly there, as you can see. It just needs a bit of jigging and moving that hand round, which is pegged in, obviously. Try and keep this in shot. But yeah, you've got some articulation there, but not a huge amount. Same story with the other arm here. The articulation, and once again, more stiff joints, but that's to be expected. On this forearm area here, you might need to. This obviously is, yeah, it needs a little bit of play, a little bit of work, but it's the usual story with Neca joints. What can I say? First time out the box, they are normally very, very stiff. But yeah, if you're picking up a Neca figure, exercise some caution. Don't be too rough with it. Be gentle at first, but you don't want to risk snapping an arm or a leg off. But yeah, shirt really nicely done. Ripped here as well, which is screen accurate. Moving around the back, you've got the boomstick holster, which is made out of plastic. Nice to see that they put the rivets in there, and the string has been sculpted in. That has got the same weathering. As has the back of the shirt. Nice to see that they've done the back of the shirt. That's all been weathered as well with whites and greys. You can put the boomstick into the holster in the back if you so wish. It needs a little bit of work to get that in, but once it's in there, yeah, you can rest assured it won't be coming out too easily. Up to this head sculpt now. Well, actually, before we get to the head sculpt, it's fair to note they've actually sculpted in an attempt to what looks to me like hairs on his chest there have been sculpted, and we'll check out the articulation in the upper body. Not a vast amount in the upper body, obviously, because of this solid plastic shirt that he's got over the top. So yeah, no give there really. But yeah, this third head sculpt. Now this is my preferred of the 3 head sculpts for Ash that come with this figure. I don't know why, it just seems to work. I don't know whether it's that sort of, because of that it's that semi-startled, semi-surprised, ready for action, whatever you want to call that expression. But I just think it works. Out of the 3, it works. Probably that head sculpt and the angry one are probably the 2 that I like the most, and probably the 2 I'll be using in the display. But yeah, this is most certainly my preferred one, and it's the same level of detailing again. The hair is that wet black look. The blood paint applications are there as well. I like the way they've done the mouth. It's just sort of slightly dropped at either side, and you can see a couple of its front teeth there done in white. But yeah, overall, really, really good. It's got that 5 o'clock shadow, prominent chin, prominent nose. Let's take a look at the chainsaw. Chainsaw's really nicely done. It's weathered. If I can attempt not to knock the camera over, I'm trying to get it as close in as possible. Yeah, really nicely painted. You've got weathering on there. There's silver paint applications that have been dirtied up with some black dry brushing. You've got all manner of blood paint applications on there, from sort of a wet look on the body of the chainsaw itself to a more dried blood effect on the blade. There are teeth, silver teeth on this chainsaw. Just really, really nicely done. And as before, completely screen accurate. So there you have it. That's Ash of the pair. So let's bring out Ed. Let's put him to one side and let's take a close-up look at Ed. Now, as I said before, straight out of the box, this really did impress me. And now I'm up close with it, I'm even more impressed. I think this is great. We'll start at the bottom again and work our way up. He's got a pair of loafers on, which is screen accurate. They've been dirtied up. There's some scuffs on there and some dirt. The paint applications on those loafers are really nice as well. The detailing has been picked out with a sort of brass stroke gold coloured paint. Once again, you've got 2 peg holes there for the 1/10 scale figure stands. The pants themselves the colour is screen accurate, and the sculpt is really nice. You've got seams in there. Let's check out the articulation. The feet. Now, these feet really, there's pretty much no give in these feet at all. So, there is a little bit in this right-hand one, a bit of forward and backward, and a certain amount of lateral, but not a vast amount. This one, virtually none whatsoever. So, yeah, virtually no give in the left foot at all. Let's check the knees out. Now, there's some swivel in the knees there. As you can see, it goes off at a rather odd angle, but very little forward and backward movement. So, yeah, be careful if you're free posing this. I can't imagine it being the most stable on its pins without a stand. And there's little to no give. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this is an age thing. Well, I say an age thing. This is a sat in the box for a long time thing. There is some give there, so you can have that leg raised. See if this one wants to give. This one is being a little. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so if you're wanting him flying through the air, because I mean obviously there's that sequence where he's hovering around in the room, you can achieve that. I'm not sure how you would support it, but yeah, the legs do have that give in them. So straighten those legs out. Let's move up to the waist area. Sculpted and painted belt, which is screen accurate. This shirt, really, really nicely done, and once again, screen accurate. Not particularly dirtied up. It's relatively clean, but the colours are right. That sort of beige pinstripe is screen accurate. Let's check out the articulation in the arms. Yeah, you've got a complete 360 rotation at the shoulder there, hinged elbow. So yeah, you've got plenty of movement in and out on that elbow, and the hands themselves are pegged in, so you can do pretty much a complete 360 with them as well. It's really the hands actually on here are very, very well done. I'm going to try and get these as close in as I can if the camera will focus. But the paint applications on these hands are really, really nice. They're dirtied up. You've got these yellowed long fingernails on the ends as well, which are really nicely done, and just works and looks really good. The sleeves are rolled up. And that sort of weathering continues and discoloration continues up the forearms. Let's check the waist articulation. A little bit of give in there, not a huge amount. Yeah, but there's some movement in there. And finally, let's take a look at this head sculpt. Now, out of the 2 head sculpts, I must admit this is my preferred head sculpt. That jaw is articulated again, so you can have him mouth closed like this with that horrendous array of teeth partially hidden, or you can open it up, and when you do open it up, and if the camera's catching this, it's like the back of his tongue there hides the hinge, which is a good idea. But yeah, I think Neca have done an incredible paint job considering how small of an area you've got to work in here. The paint applications on the teeth, on the tongue, on the lip area, just absolutely on point. And the skin has been textured in the sculpt to give it that sort of gnarly and wrinkly and dead look. Paint applications are on point, although I think that maybe just be a dirt effect there on the cheek, and I have to check that. But overall, yeah, the furrows in the eyebrows, the furrows around the nose, that purple hue around the whited out eyes, all absolutely on point, as is the hair. Let's check the movement in this. Yeah, you pretty much got a 360 all the way round movement with the head. No forward and backward movement of which to speak, but yeah, if you're wanting to really muck about with this and having been all kinds of odd poses, you can really achieve any look you want there. So yeah, that's Ed, and suitably impressed with him I am too. I'm really liking this little piece. I think it's great. So there you have it. That's Ed and Ash. Let's get them back on the turntable and going for final thoughts on these two. As I mentioned at the top there, the Ash figure has sort of become, I'm not saying yesterday's news to me. I just think I've become a little bit, I won't say world weary, but I've grown accustomed to Ash from Neca. So it really was the Ed that stood out for me with this piece, but well, with this set. But overall, I think once again Neca have done a fantastic job. From the sculpt, the paintwork, the accessories, the presentation, everything absolutely on point, as always. As I don't normally score Neca, I've sort of drifted into doing it, so I'm going to give this. I can't really find anything wrong. I mean, the preferred head sculpt is not simply because one is not good. It's simply because it's not preferred by me. So really, I'm struggling to find anything wrong with these two figures. So you know me and you know the channel. If I can't find anything wrong with a figure, I've got to give it a 10. So I'm going to go 10 out of 10 for this 30th anniversary edition from Neca. So yeah, there you have it. That is Neca's take on Ed Getley and Ash Campbell from Evil Dead 2. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I hope it's been useful for you. Do you have this set in your collection? Drop a comment in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on Neca? What are your thoughts on this figure? What are your thoughts on Evil Dead 2? What are your thoughts on anything? Nothing's off menu, so please drop a comment in the comment section below. I would be fascinated to hear your thoughts on this. And I suppose all it remains for me to say, before we go, we need to cover what's coming on the channel. I always manage to nearly forget this section. So what we've got coming up? Well, in the quarter scale statue world, we have the Prime 1 N52 Batman. That's due in pretty soon. In the 1/6 scale world, we've got the Toys Battalion Legendary Merchant, aka Tom Hardy from Taboo. We have got from X06 Krug and Savick. From Star Trek, from Present Toys, we've got Anton Chigurh. From No Country for Old Men, we've got Ripley from Aliens, Kaneda from Akira. From Premier Toys, we have the Interstellar double pack. Looking forward to that. And Furiosa and Dementus from Furiosa and Mad Max Saga. We've also got the Doof Warrior exclusive edition. That's from Mad Max Fury Road. From Hot Toys, we've got Kid Pool. From Caustic Plastic, we've got Chuck Norris, Toshiro Mifune. We've got the Phantom of the Opera. We've got a raft of Neca 110 scale stuff coming in. As you can imagine, there's an awful lot on the horizon. But what's coming up next, hopefully that will be up before the weekend, is a rather special piece. And it's a first for the channel. We're going to be taking a look at a piece from Siberian Custom Studios. Never had anything from them before. They are a relatively small organisation which produces either one-off or very, very limited runs of specific figures. So yeah, looking forward to that. That'll be coming up very, very soon as well on the channel. So if you haven't already, please hit that bell notification icon, hit that subscribe button so you're not missing anything, missing any of this good stuff that's coming up on the channel. And I suppose all it remains for me to say from Ash Campbell and from Ed Getley and myself, take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and until next time, it's over to the showcase.